All right, so this is repair for a 2006 Mercury Mariner 3.0 V6. I have seen video after video after video on YouTube, and I went through the Chilton's manual and the Hayes manual, and they're all telling you to do the same thing. Remove the axle, which is down here, and take off the boot and the axle and all that jazz, and it's completely unnecessary. They're saying you have to take the frame, unjack or jack the frame up, unbolt the frame, and then pry it apart with the pry bar. It is absolutely insane to do that. And for backyard mechanics or guys who are just wanting to work on their own cars without having to go to Harbor Freight Tools or Lowe's or whatever to pick up their tools to do this job for the CV axle, this is a better, simpler, easier way to do this job. I already gotten started, so just to let you guys know what I did here is I took the computer module. Okay, it's just bolted by 2 bolts. This bolt here and the bolt that's already inside.
Show them the bolt up close.
Okay, this is the bolt here. Okay, and this is the bolt as well. Okay, these 2 bolts go right. This slides right into this empty compartment right here. Okay, I already took the alternator bolt off, but this slides right into the casing here. Okay, and you just want to take that out, get it out of your way. The same thing goes with this here. Okay, you want to undo. You want to undo all your plugs. Okay, these plugs are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you're not going to have different plugs that go universal. They all stick. They're all for one plug. Like, this isn't going to plug into another plug, so you're not going to get lost. Be like, oh my god, I forgot where to put the plug. Okay, you also want to undo your vacuum line, which is right here. Okay, on the side. Okay, you have your vacuum line there, and then you also have another nozzle here. You just want to unplug that. Okay, then you have your 2 plugs over here. Okay, you have your 2 plugs here. They plug in right here. Okay, now you're also going to have a little vacuum nozzle here. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. I already took it out. This thing sits right here. This is your vacuum canister. Okay, and that sits right there. This thing is completely in your way, so you're going to do is you're going to unplug this piece here, just like so, and take this completely and put it completely out of your way. Now, once you got all this done, and then you have 2 radiator hoses that go into your firewall. One here and one here. And those things are kind of pain in the ass to get, but you know what? It's worth getting completely out of your way, because once you get all that out of your way, the only thing that's in your way at this point is the wiring harness, okay? And that's a pretty easy, you can get right around it with the alternator. Now, when you bring the alternator up, I already unbolted the top bolt. I just need to jack up my tire and get the bottom 2 bolts on the alternator and the plug. And plus, there's a snorkel housing that goes around. It's like a shroud that goes around the alternator. And once a lot of people try to attempt to get the housing off, the snorkel off, while it's attached to the motor head. But the thing is it is nearly impossible. So the easiest way to do this is to unbolt all 3 bolts on the alternator that bolt it to the motor, and turn the alternator towards you, and you can reach a wrench right into the sidewall. Now, here's the biggest secret. Okay. This is the biggest secret, and I called my friend. He's actually a Ford mechanic. He works at a dealership, and he's telling me, no, you have to go through the axle. You have to go through the axle. Okay. Now, another thing is, please don't spit there, dude. Another thing is, they tell you to go down through the axle. That is way too much work. Okay. This here literally took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes tops to take all this apart, to disassemble all this. Now, to put it together, I mean, I'm telling you, it's easy. Just put all your bolts up here on the dash, okay, so that way you can keep track of absolutely everything. Now, the secret behind this, real quick, let me just point one more thing out to you. This here goes onto your top bolt. This is they say the specs on this is an E8 star socket. However, it is not an E8, and I'll show you exactly why. And it's not even E10. And this bolt here I had to go pick up at the Ace Hardware store. as a just to do a 2-bolt method. Now this
How
here,
much was it?
60 cents. But this here was one of my biggest struggles, and I'll tell you why. You can see where it's gouged out. Okay, that's when I put an E8 on there. It was way too small, and when I put an E10, because when you buy an E star socket set, it only goes through E4 to E12, and it skips 9 in the process of going to E12. It's ridiculous. So E10 didn't fit on there, so I was screwed. And E8 was way too small, but when I put an E10 on there, it was not biting down onto the star socket or to the star bolt. So that was one of my biggest worries, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Let me pull out my star sockets. Okay, as you can see, this here is standard E4. You can see here it says E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, and E10. Now, to find an E9 star socket is nearly impossible. You can find them, but they're extremely, extremely rare to come by. You'd have to probably order on eBay, because if you go to AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Harbor Freight and Tools, they're not going to have an E9 socket for whatever reason, because it's not a standard bolt. So here's what we got. Let's go to E8 or E8, and this one here is E7. This is an E8. If you can see that, it says E8. We can barely see it because of the blur, but it's an E8. So that, you can see it doesn't fit. It does not fit inside there at all. Now, this is go to the E10, okay? And the E10, it doesn't fit either. It looks like it does, but you have a lot of play. You see that play? You see that play? Now just imagine if you're trying to go in at an angle, it's just going to strip the bolt. So the best way to do this is to take a stop nut. Okay, you're going to put the stop nut, the bolt's sitting on top of the alternator like this. You're going to put the stop nut onto the bolt, okay? And then you're going to bring this nut all the way up. All right, once you do that, you're able to turn it like so. And this nut here is going to stop this nut from pushing off, and it's actually going to start turning the bolt instead, okay? So I had to do that, and that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's a 14 millimeter, 15 millimeter wrench on this piece here, okay? You don't really need a wrench for this, but that's the hardest part that I had to do. I had to struggle with this damn thing. It was a pain in my ass. And like I said, I could either sit on eBay and wait for 2 days or 3 days before I actually get an E9 after finding one, or I could just do it this method, and this is the quickest, easiest method to do it. Now here's the biggest secret. I'm going to show you the biggest secret and the biggest trick on doing this. I've watched video after video after video, and I've tried to figure out exactly how I can get this alternator out. Now, if you come over here, I'm going to show you. See this right here? I tried beating that, okay, to try to pull my alternator out because it would not fit up through here. I'd get all so close, and then it wouldn't come through. So I'm going to show you the easiest trick to get this done, and nobody has done it online that I could find. And even when I told my Ford friend who's a Ford mechanic what I did, he was just like, "Oh my God, you're crazy." But it's not crazy. It's so simple. Okay, make sure you don't have any moving parts or loose bolts or nuts or anything before you do this, because you don't want it falling into your chambers. Okay, you're going to take a 10 millimeter socket, which, let me make sure it is a 10 millimeter. No, it is a, I believe it's this one here. Nope. Anyway, I know I have it somewhere around here, but anyway, what you're going to do is I believe it's an 8 millimeter socket. You're going to take this here, and you're going to unbolt this one here, and you don't have that one. Don't hit that one. You don't need to take that one off, okay? You just want to take the manifold. Okay, so you take this, and then there's one way down here. You can see that. One down there, and one over here. You won't be able to see that. You can barely see it. It's right there. You see it? And then underneath this piece here, you have one as well. I know this sounds like a lot to do, but I'm telling you it's not. It's super easy, and it's going to make your life so much easier. So once you do this, you unbolt the manifold and you take this off as well, all right, you're not taking it completely off. You're just going to unbolt it, and it's going to come right off. Once you do that, this whole manifold here is going to be super loose, and you're going to be able to pop it off. Now, these bolts here they're not going to come all the way out, so don't worry about trying to fish them out. They're supposed to lock into place once you unbolt them and everything. There's a washer or another screw down there that keeps it locked on, so you don't have to worry about it falling down into the chambers. Now, once you do all this, you're going to take this manifold here, and you're going to lift it completely up out of your way. And only for a split second when you have the alternator right here. It might take two people, but you pull the alternator through, and then you lift the manifold up, and the alternator comes right out. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have two people, okay, like I didn't have my asshole brother who's holding the phone right now. I didn't have him come help me because he was too busy playing Call of Duty. Or
Far Cry 4.
Far Cry 4. So what I had to do is I had to take this rope here. Okay? Now be careful when you do this because you don't want any engine parts or bolts falling into your manifold. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and lasso it around the manifold.
I'm helping him today. This was another day.
And all you got to do is take it and lasso it around, and you can either shut the rope in your door or you can just, have it tied onto something just enough to where it comes up about right here for you to pull your alternator out. Once you do that, you got your alternator out. You can put your new alternator in. It's fairly easy, and you're good to go. But that's basically it. You might have to bend this out of your way. You might have to take off the air filter duct right here. It's super simple, just one screw, and it just comes right off. That's probably the only thing that you need to do. But other than that, it made my life so much easier. I wrestled with this thing. It was like a retarded alternator giving birth out of this damn car. It was absolutely ridiculous. Now, before you do all this work, you need to take your positive cable, which I'm sure you guys already know, and disconnect it because you do not want to work on a live alternator. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a message below and subscribe. Also, one more thing. To take this alternator off, do we have a lot of time on that camera, or is it almost off?
No, it's a good
How much time is on there so far?
Well, it looks like I can record a few hours.
All right, so how much time is on there now? How long have we been recording?
12 minutes and 40 seconds.
12 minutes, okay. All right, so you can use a socket or you can use a lug nut wrench. It's totally up to you. I like using a socket because I feel like a man. All right, so let me grab my socket. Okay. So once you get this off, you're wanting to take your tire, unbolt it. You want to do this before you actually jack the car up, unless you want to put the car in brake, put the e-brake on, or put the brake on before you do this. And then once you jack it, I actually have to use my standard jack that came with the car because if I don't have a big long Ford jack, and even if I did, it's just going to be in my way, and I want it tucked up underneath the vehicle. Now, like I said, this is for Mercury Mariner. It's just a rock in my tire. This is for Mercury Mariner, and this has been the biggest pain in the ass. I've changed alternators out ridiculously amount of times. I mean, it's just been ridiculous. But for this job, I've been in over my head. And I've learned a few shortcuts here. I don't want to sit here and manually crank my jack down. You don't want to do this with the drill on the way up because it's going to put too much stress on the drill. But if you want to crank it back down without having to crank it, you can actually take this part here and stick it inside and slowly uncrank it, and it brings your car down. But you don't want to do that on a high or on the way up because you're gonna end up burning your drill out. But there's a little spot underneath. Okay, hand crank it until you get there. All right, and Houston, we are in. Once you do that, you just hook it up, and then you just have it. This, like I said, this is the standard set that goes with the car. So you just want to crank it up like so. Make sure your e-brake is on anyway, because you don't want it to roll, and unless you have like a stopper behind the tire. But that's all you gotta do.
And also for safety, when it's cranked up and you take the tire off, place it underneath the vehicle just in case the jack fails.
Yeah, you want to place it up underneath there unless you have some jack stands. But even if with jack stands, you want to take that tire and place it up underneath the car, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could be sitting there working on the car, and next thing you know, an earthquake happens, and now you got a
vehicle sitting on top of you,
sitting on your face, squashing you. So we don't want that. We want everyone to be safe, and safety is the most important thing to do when you're working on a car. So there's that. Doesn't take too much time, and all we have left is the tires. And I'm going to show you exactly where to reach the alternator at. And that could be a pain in the ass as well with just the bolts, because now I'm probably not going to stay here until I get done with the whole car. Just, you know how to start the tire on. All you got to do is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to start on there. You don't want to just go one in a row, because it'll offset the tire, and before you know it, you're driving down the street and your tire is traveling on its own. So we don't want to do that. And it's probably a good idea while you're changing your alternator out to take a look at your brakes. And if you need new brakes, you might as well go ahead and do new brakes as well. I'm not going to do that because my brakes are fine. I just changed them out not too long ago. But it's probably a good idea to take a look at your rotors and look at your brakes. And if you need to do that as well. But this is just a quick method. A quicker method on doing this job. Okay, so what you want to do is once you get it off, lay it flat, like so, and put it underneath the car to keep yourself safe. Alright, now this is the shroud. I took the shroud off that goes underneath the engine. That's your mud shroud, the tire shroud that goes into your wheel well shroud, whatever the hell you want to call it. And this is what we're looking at, guys. Alright, now when you do this, please be careful with the wiring. You have to make sure that you're not bumping wiring, and you're not going to put the wiring in the way of the belt. But your alternator is up here. My shroud is right here. Okay, that goes on the alternator. And there's this one bolt that I have to take off. So that bolt's pretty easy. Once I get that bolt off, I can work on the bottoms because I already got the top bolt off the alternator. Okay, let me show you exactly where the bolt is for the shroud. I don't know if we can see it from here, guys. Yeah, it's right there. If you can see that, that goes on the shroud. And I'll show you exactly. I'll take that off real fast. That's an 8mm if I'm not mistaken. Let me just look. And let's take this bad boy off. What did I grab? Oh, I grabbed the 10mm. Anyway, so that's really there is to it, guys. You're going to take the shroud off. You're going to unbolt those bolts. Make sure all the cables are unbolted or unplugged. And, I mean, that's all there is to it. Once you get that, as you can see, you can't drop. There's no way in hell that you can drop that alternator through here. Now, what they're asking you to do on eBay or on YouTube and on Chilton's is they're asking you to take this boot completely off, the CV axle, okay, and take your rotor off, take your brake caliper off, and to unbolt this piece here. That's to your chassis, okay, and then also unbolt this arm here, and it has a little cotter fin on there to unbolt that as well. And then once you do all that, now you have to take the rubber boot off and take the whole CV axle, and then on top of that, you have to take a crowbar, pry that pry that apart. There's a little lip in here that you're supposed to pry it apart and put something in there like a wedge to keep it wedged, so that way you can pull the alternator out from right here. Look, guys, that is absolutely insane. I know there's probably only 10 steps in doing this, okay, but this is a lot of work, and most of the time people do not have the tools at home to do CV axle jobs and stuff. This is a simple home job. Undo the computer module that goes into your firewall. Undo your hoses here. Okay. Take your hoses off your manifold. Undo your plugs. Take this off as well. I can take that off while you guys are here, so that way you can see how super easy it is. Let me grab my drill. 1 second. Hold on. Someone's knocking on the door.
Oh, hi, ma'am. Oh, just working on the car.
Who are you looking for?
Me, that's my probation officer.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. How are you? I'm borrowing them.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, I heard you talking. I rang the doorbell. I thought it was you.
Yes, ma'am. That's
Do
fine.
you know Danielle?
She's at the bar office.
Oh, she's in the Bartow office. What's her last? Shelton. Yeah, Danielle Shelton, if I'm not mistaken. She was. You're what?
She's a whiner now.
Oh, she's a waiter now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a good friend of mine. We used to hang out a long time ago, and then we just lost contact. I don't know how. Pilato, that's it, Danielle Pilato. We just lost contact. I knew there was some stuff with her ex-boyfriend, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, boom, she just vanished. I'm like, what?
Yeah, she's married.
She's married now.
She's pregnant.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
That's why she's such an awesome chick.
She is.
We used to go out all the time, like a group of us, and just have so much fun. But I lost contact with her. Yeah.
She's doing great.
That's
Awesome.
good.
Well, if you see her, tell her Brett said hi.
What's your name?
Brett Montzingo. Yep, tell her I said
All
hi.
right, ma'am. You have a nice day.
Take care.
Drive safe. There's a big butt, huh?
Damn, your probation officer hot, man. Your probation officer hot.
All right, it's still recording? All right, so now we got that. We're just going to take these here. Yeah, it's 8mm, like I said, guys. That's an 8mm drill bit. Super easy. Okay. You want to just take it, undrill it, like that. Put it to the side for now, but what you're going to do is once you get all that, you're going to well, that's not going to work. I need an 8mm drill bit. This is probably too big. Let's just double check. Sorry,
Big old spot, huh?
that thing's big old.
I like it.
Alright, come over here. We're going to find an 8mm real quick. Alright. Let's just find one really fast. That's it, right there. Oh, that's not quite metric or standard. And that's close enough. This is 1132. Let's see if we can find one more. There it is. 8mm, bam. There we go. Well, we could have used something else that was maybe a little bit bigger. I mean, I'd rather not, but now this here is called a stubby socket, a stubby ratchet. You can use it or not. If you have an extension, you can use it. I'm not sure what my extension is, so I'm just gonna grab my socket. Here it is. How long is that video so far?
It is 24 minutes.
Woo.
This is about.
Hey, look, guys, feel free to fast forward through the boring stuff, and so we got it on there like
The
that.
first about 15 minutes is the most important stuff, explaining everything. The rest of it's just,
Just,
showing you exactly how it's done.
But the thing is now if they've gotten this far, they've already watched the whole video. They're like, okay, thanks, asshole. Should have said that in the beginning of the video. No,
Oh, are you
Anyway, that's my lovely mom. She's out here trying to coach me on how to work on my car. Hello. All right. So this method, like I said, is a lot easier than going underneath the axle. Look, to do it that way is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's just too much work. Way too much work. And this is becoming too much work here too. Just on this one little damn bolt. We run into headaches like this. You're probably wondering how come my hands aren't as greasy as they are, is because I've already took this motor apart to get to the alternator once, and I probably took a lot of the grease off of my hands. The reason why I did that is because the parts store gave me a defaulted alternator. So, yay for me, right? All right, so now we got that.
Did you get your money back for that?
No. They just gave me a new piece. Now this is the piece. This is the bolt that goes into there that held that shroud on there. You want to go ahead and bolt that in because you don't want to lose. If you can bolt it back into that spot, bolt it back in because you don't want to lose it. And then all you have left here is these here right here. It's 8 millimeter, like I said. Okay, you just want to unscrew those. Okay, now when you hook all this up, when you hook it all back up, okay, so you want to move this, and then you want to hook the bolts back in into it because you don't want to lose these pieces laying around or be like, oh, I forgot it, I don't know where it went or where does it go, in case you want to do this easy. Now, when you do this over here, come over here, Levi, and when you do this, you're unattaching this here, and when you move this out of the way, you're still going to take this piece off here, like so. Okay. And once you do that, put the nut back in or the bolt back in. Okay. Okay. So once you do this, this is able to move around, you see? Now, when you do that, this right here, this cable, this is your gas cable. This can come undone down here, you see? And when you hook everything back up, it could be kinked over here, and now you have everything hooked back up, but now you can hit the gas pedal. Make sure that this is back in its line where it's supposed to be. Okay, but yeah, just now it's loose. You can move everything. You're not losing any nuts or any bolts. You're good to go. You can take this piece here. This goes into your firewall just like that, along with the computer module. Just take that and push it out of the way for now because you're going to be getting the alternator out. And I will show you exactly how to do that here in about a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and have him hit stop because I'm going to do a few things and I don't want to take up too much time on how to do this. But like I said, this is your main thing. Unbolt this. It's just like doing a coil pack. You have 3 coil packs in here. It's the same thing as you're doing a coil pack job. It's nothing major. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts that you're unbolting, and then this pops right off, and you're able to actually maneuver things back from here. Okay, so that's simple as that. He's going to go ahead and hit stop, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started on the bottom part, okay?
Alrighty.
So, welcome back. I'm just going to show you, I already got it loose. This is the bolt that bolts into the alternator shroud that goes on top of it. I just took it and placed it to the side. And then this here, I wiggled it loose before I started recording, but you just got to mess with it a little bit, and it comes out just like a little puzzle. It comes out right here just like that. You want to take this and put it to the side, and if anything, take your bolt and drop it into the hole so that way you know where it's at all times, okay? And you know it goes to that. Then on top of that, you have your alternator screws. You're going to have to come over here, Levi. Your alternator bolts. Watch out for this.
I know.
You have your alternator bolts. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me that light. You have your alternator bolts right there. There's one. Okay? And then here's the other over here. All right? These things
looks like his thumb's at.
Yeah, these things can be a huge pain in the ass. And if you just want to break it loose with a wrench, you can do that. Where's my wrench at? Right
Right
here.
there.
All right. You want to do it with a wrench? It takes a 15 millimeter wrench.
You're leaving the tag so you can return that, aren't you?
Yes, I totally left the
You
tag on there
cheat-
because Harbor
you
Freight
cheat
Tools is a
motherfucker.
car drive, and if I did this, if I got this Harbor Freight Tools, I could have gotten this 15 millimeter wrench. I had one, but I don't know what happened to it. It was in the process of moving it.
You know you could get zip ties and just zip tie that back on there, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I just left this here like this so that way I can just return it. 'Cause I'm never going to use this thing again. But you can get in here and you can break it loose with this, or you can use the socket, okay? Once you break it loose, okay, it's going to break loose, and you still have another shroud, the snorkel that goes on the alternator itself. Once you get that off, the whole alternator, all you're going to do is just turn the alternator towards this whole area right here, so that way you can just take that shroud off, and that shroud comes right off. A lot of people that I've seen do it online, they want to reach their hands way up over here with a socket and try to find the bolts and try to do it that way, but you're reaching way on the other side, and it's just a pain in the ass. Why make it harder than what it really is? So that's all we have left. I'm going to go ahead and unbolt these 2 bolts, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We'll come back here in just a minute. Welcome back, guys. To reach those bolts here, I put it's about a 3-inch extender, maybe 2.5, 3-inch extender, and this is a 15 millimeter socket. It just reaches in here like this. This here is just slow and steady. It's a pain in the ass, but you're just gonna break it loose. Let's start with the back, because the back tends to be more pain in the ass. Just hand feel it. You're not going to be able to. Maybe you can reach your hand over here and then hold it with this side. You're not going to be able to see what I'm doing here. But you're holding the ratchet on there so it doesn't break loose.
I love this song. This is 3 doors down, right?
No, this is everything here.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wonderful again.
I think I might have broken it loose. Let's double check. No, I did not. That was a false alarm, guys. It takes a little bit of patience. Once you get it.
I just noticed, I think this phone has HD recording. Because right now it's saying it's on normal.
Okay. Slow and steady, guys. You hear it's only one click. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now it's probably loose enough. You want to do that back bracket first, because that back bracket will just unscrew itself pretty easy. And then once you get it enough to where it's just a little loose, you can take this off here, take this off here. Follow me Levi. Then you want to get your stubby ratchet. It's just this little piece here, screws on or pops on. Pop it on there. I might just get it with without even put that extension on there. I believe I can, so I'm not going to do it with the extension. The closer you can get, the better. Make sure lefty loosey, righty tighty. Okay, and you just put your hand up underneath there, and you want to get that back bracket first, and you'll hear it ratcheting. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew it because it seems pretty loose. Okay, so now I can just hand take it off. It's pretty easy, guys. I mean, at least for me, it was pretty easy. Just make sure you do that back bolt first. You don't want to do this top bolt first because you're
Go from the other end and point at it.
because what you're going to be doing is when you go to that back bolt,
Use your,
you're gonna loosen that. Okay.
use your other hand to point.
When you go to that back bolt where I'm working on now, if I did this top bolt first, the side bolt first, it's closer to me. Now the only thing that's holding that alternator up is that back bolt, and now I got to fight that back bolt, and I'm not close to it. So see, I just got it. Bring it out, and there it is. That's the bolt there. All right, so take these bolts. This is the top bolt. This is my stopper nut, and this is the bottom bolt here. And now all I have left is just that one bolt. Let me just make sure all the wires are disconnected before I continue on. Let me get my screwdriver. All right, go ahead and hit pause. All right, guys. So now all we have is hold on, don't let me lose my mind here. All we have now is just that one bolt right here that's holding the alternator on. I went underneath. The best way to do this, to unplug the regulator pigtail on the alternator itself, is to actually crawl up underneath the car, slide up underneath the car, and just take a flathead screwdriver, and you can see it. All you gotta do is just reach your hand up there, go behind it like this here, and it pops right off. To do it up on top of the engine is kind of a pain in the butt. To do it from here, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but when you go underneath it, you can actually see what you're doing. So now, all we're going to do is we're going to get ready to take this last bolt off. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to take the shroud off. Like I said, I've seen a lot of guys do it where they're over there fighting that shroud to get off. Now, this is also an easy does it portion right here because you're only going to get a few clicks. I'm going to use a breaker. We're going to try to do it manually without using the breaker bar. Alright, there it is. Like I said, it's easy does it, guys. Easy does it. Okay? But like I said, that's the only thing that's holding your alternator on now. It's just that one bolt. You got the top one, you got the bottom one, the bottom side. It's parallel to this bolt here on the back side. You want to do that one first. Do not do the one that I'm on now. Do not do that one first because you want to do the worstest, the firstest. You get done with that first bolt in the back, okay, and then you come to this one because you see how easy this is? I'm actually able to reach it and to see what I'm doing on that last bolt rather than fight with it, okay? And on top of that, you're going to have a lot of tension on that bolt. And when you are working in a tight space, it's not going to slide right out. It's not going to hand unscrew like this one is.
Your alternator is like 10, 15 pounds, so it's going to be tugging down on that last one a bit.
I wouldn't say 15. On this one, it's probably about, I'd say this alternator is probably about a good
at least 10,
8 to 10 pounds, yeah.
I was holding that bitch up the other day. At least 10.
Yeah. So that's all you're doing, slowly but steady. You can even probably put your stubby ratchet on there. I'm telling you what, guys, that stubby ratchet, you go to Harbor Freight and Tools. It costs maybe $8 for 3 of them. And I tell you what, it is by far one of the best purchases I bought for my toolbox. It makes life so much easier. Okay. So let's just try to do it by hand now. See if we can fit it in there. Nope. We still have to use a ratchet. So let's use a ratchet. Hey, if you have an air compressor at the house and you have air tools, throw an air tool on there. take it right out. But
Why
hey,
don't you have any of those?
I did.
What happened to them?
Ex-girlfriends.
You had to get something from you, huh?
Replace the hot air that they're full with. All right, but like I said, slow and steady, guys. Slow and steady. Now, another thing is, if you're doing it by the Hayes manual, they're going to tell you. Oh shoot, I forgot. They're going to tell you to take this muffler off. But I did forget one thing, guys. I'm being stupid over here. I still have the belt connected, so all you got to do is just put it up in there like so. All right. Go ahead and hit pause. All right, let me know when you hit play. Can you still see everything? All right, look at me. Pointing at me first.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys. The biggest thing here is that I completely forgot I was being a retard. Is this belt right here? Undo the belt. You just have the pulley right here. This fits right into there, like so. You just put it right in there. And I keep this in my toolbox. It's an old. I use it as a breaker bar, but it's just an old metal flashlight, which I love because I just gutted the inside out of it, so that way I can actually get some leverage on it. You can use whatever you want to use, but that's what I use.
But
But
used to be a nice flashlight.
yeah, but now all you got to do is just go back in here like so and start unscrewing everything. Okay? You're only going to get 1 or 2 clicks unless you have an air compressor and using air tools. Okay?
Yeah, but usually if somebody has a set like that, they already know what the fuck to do.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get it with our hands now.
You sure you'll be able to even get this one with your hands?
Yeah, you can if you hold the alternator up. And then you just unratchet it. So you can hit pause and then
Hit pause?
Alright guys, we're at the end of getting that last bolt out. It's about to drop, and just let it naturally drop on its own. Okay, we'll be good to go. There it goes. Alright, so now all you gotta do is just kind of lift up on it, relieve the pressure, and pull the bolt out. Get it completely out of your way. Don't crush your fingers in the process. And voila, there's the bolt's all good. It's not gouged. Whatever you do, okay. I know a lot of idiots want to put Loctite on these bolts. Okay, don't fucking do that. Not to yourself or anyone else. It's such a pain in the ass to be able to get. It's already hard enough to get this bolt out. Once you put Loctite on there, it just makes it even more of a pain in the ass. Okay, so now we have 3 bolts out. Okay, this is your top end, and these are the 2 bottoms. Okay, we're gonna put those to the side. Now, here comes the fun part. Okay. Also, guys, while I'm working with this light here, I went ahead and drilled just a tiny little hole right here, so that way, because there was no way for me to hang it, so I just drilled a tiny little hole there, so that way I can hang my light there where I need it, because I couldn't hang it there, I couldn't hang it there. I mean, I could, but it's in my way, so I need it out of my way. So right there is where I put it. All right. So anyway, all we got to do now is take the alternator itself. Okay, be careful for the pigtails in the back. You don't want to ruin those.
And watch your fingers.
Okay, and watch your fingers because you don't want to hurt yourself. This thing does weigh a lot. You want to turn the alternator. Now, this is the part that everybody is like, oh no, do the shroud while it's still on the motor. You know, but it makes it too much a pain in the ass. Okay? We don't want to do that. We want to make this easy. Okay, so just flip it like so.
I couldn't even see that.
Okay. Flip it like so. Okay, now I see the bottom one. There, see it? See the bottom thing for the shroud? Okay, all I gotta do is, I believe that's an 8mm. And all I gotta do is find my 8mm socket. I think it's up here. I just had it. It's a 7mm. 10mm. Might be 7. Let me look at it one more time. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely an 8mm. I need to find my 8mm, guys. We back? Yeah. Alright, guys. I found my 8mm bit. Okay, you can put it on your drill bit or you can do it manually. If I can reach it with this, I'd rather do it with this because it makes things a lot faster. Make sure it's going the right way so you're not putting a lot of torque on. Bam. And it's already unscrewed. You want to take that one off. You got most of it. You just have a tiny little bit on there. Bam, got that one. Now you want to take the alternator and you want to turn it so you can hit the other one. Okay. Okay, so now we have that one there we already got. And now we have this one here. You see it? Let me move this piece out your way. You see that, guys? Now I have that one. Now all I'm going to do is just take my drill bit. If you can see. Can you see it through the camera?
Hold on.
See it, guys? I'm going to take my drill bit. I turn the alternator a little bit. And just... Okay. It loosened it up. Okay. And then it falls on the ground. Okay. Now you want to keep these tiny little bolts or nuts closed so you don't lose them. And there should be 3 of them on here. Yeah, there's 3. And I can reach the 3rd one from here just by tilting it a little bit. Okay. And it fell. Oh, there it is. So that's 3, guys. There's 3 of them on there. So once you do that, you're going to push the alternator back, away. Okay. Push it away so that way we can get this shroud off. Make sure you're not gouging any wires out. You don't want to take any wires off or make it go down bare metal because that's just going to be bad. And then all you got to do is just take it from there and maneuver it out. It's fairly easy, like so. Boom. There it is, guys. There's the piece. That's the snorkel that goes on there. And then you have the other piece of snorkel that fits on there that goes on the top. Now, this is to keep leaves out, to keep keep it nice and cool. Keep your alternator nice and cool so it's so buried into your engine. Take the nuts out that we got out, put them in there so that way you know that it goes with it at all times and you don't lose it and wonder where your parts are. Okay, now all we have left here, guys, is the alternator. Now this is the magic, all right? I'm going to show you the magic on how to get this son of a bitch out of here because trust you me, this thing is a pain in the ass. All right, so my brother's going to hold it. And I'm going to hit pause. We have the manifold left, okay? So this is the last step before you get the alternator out. And you want to do this before you start yanking that alternator up. And please, whatever you do, be careful for those wires. You do not want to gouge those wires because then you have a bigger mess on your hands. So here we go. We got 1, Okay, we got 2. Okay, these are going to stay inside the. These are going to stay inside the head or inside the valve. You don't have to worry about them falling over. Okay, and we have another one here. Okay, now when you tighten these guys, when you tighten these bolts here, you want to make sure you do it in a star pattern. The best way to do it is to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because you don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tightening because it's not going to be a full tight. It's like the same thing as on your tire on your lug nuts. So now this is loose here, guys. Now just be careful you don't have any loose parts. They're going to fall into the engine because then you're going to have even bigger problems than what you need. Also, one more thing here is you want to take these little doodads off here, the plugs. It just helps it get out of the way a little bit better because it's, as you can see, it's still pretty tight on there. Let's do this real quick. Let's get the air filter off. Okay. If you don't have a drill, guys, it's okay. But having a drill makes it so much easier. And if you have an air tank, air compressor, that makes it a lot easier as well. Now all we have left is that. I'm going to grab my screwdriver real fast. These little rivets inside here, they will strip out, but if you have to replace them, you can replace them. You see they just flare out, but there's really no need to. Just as long as it's pretty steady inside there, you're good. Okay, so now we have that disconnected. Okay, and all we have left is this hanging out in the way, which is okay because we only need a little bit of room. Oh, one more thing, guys. Your EGR valve. Your EGRs. I completely forgot about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see here. Give me this 10 millimeter. I believe it's 10 millimeter. That's a 10 millimeter socket on there. Give me that socket. My small ratchet. My small. Here, give me that one too. Yeah. And then give me my small ratchet. It's on the ground. Should be on the ground. No, my small one. My small, tiny one. It's Craftsman. It's 1/4 inch ratchet. Oh, I see it. All right. All right, guys. So, and then give me my stubby as well. Okay, it's right there. We're good. All right, guys. So now we have this. You lefty loosey, righty tighty. You want to get in here. I would do the worstest to firstest. Always remember that. Do the worstest to firstest. Get in here on that one nut in the back. Okay, and you're wanting to break that loose like so. Take that one off first, so that way this other one isn't so hard. This last one, see, it's just that first one is just going to come right out, and I could actually do it by hand now. Actually, I can't. That's where my stubby ratchet comes in. Okay, just put it back in there like that. Okay, and might have to move that out a little bit. Okay. And it's good to go. So we got that out. Put that right there because you're just going to put that back in. Okay. Okay, let's put my ratchet back on there. Because you don't want to lose these parts, guys. That's the most important thing. You lose these parts and then you're shuffling through the garage or, God forbid, if you're working in the grass, which is the dumbest thing you could ever do when you're working on a motor. Don't ever work on the grass, ever. And try to keep your area clean because that way if you lose something, it's easier to find. All right, so now we got that loose. All we got to do is just do it by hand. And we're good to go, and this will be ready to go. This is your EGR valve. You just take it like this, and you unscrew it. Okay, guys. So now we got the EGR valve. I'm sorry for that. It was my mistake. You want to put these out of the way. You don't want to put them back in because if you put them back in, it's going to end up gouging that metal, and you don't want to gouge that metal because it needs to be a nice clean surface once you reconnect it. Now, you also have your... I find it easier to put this on top. I mean, you can put it on bottom. It really all is preference, but now, Houston, we have liftoff. Now we have plenty of room to get that alternator out, get this vacuum hose out of the way. Let's see here. It's okay. We're good. All right. So down there, that's all your valves and coil packs and all that fancy jazz. So now we are ready to get this alternator out, and we're going to show you the easy way to do this. Rather than taking your muffler off, taking your CV axle off, taking your rotor off, taking all this crazy stuff off with tools that people don't have. You're going to do this in your house, in your garage, and it's going to be the easiest way to do it. Even if you did have all those tools, this is still the easier method. I know that it looks like everything's disassembled, but to put everything together again, once you get the alternator all bolted in and all the wires put in, it literally only takes maybe 20 minutes to put everything together. Okay? And if you need to go back into my video to see exactly how I took everything apart, then you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and get started and get this alternator out. Let's flatten this first because I'm going to be using this to kind of put my knee on. And I don't want to strip any bolts out in the process of doing that. Okay. So we are good. And here goes the big kicker, guys. Levi, my brother, this is my brother Levi. He's going to go ahead and push the alternator up to me, and then I'm going to snag it and then pull it up and
Bring that light down there with you so I can see. You hear me?
You need that light?
No, I said bring it up there with you.
Okay.
So I can see.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. You guys ready for this? Let me pull this out.
It's not in there. Oh,
Yeah, you put it in the rubber. Don't ever do that, dude. All right. So let me just make sure the wires are completely out of the way. Nope.
You dropped the phone, Russell?
Russell decided to get a close-in view.
Yeah,
Make sure everything looks good. Make sure everything looks kosher.
You break on?
All right. All right, gotta push it up. Hold on, let me get this out of the way. Just to get it out of the way. There we go. All right. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. All right, push it up, and keep it stray from the wires.
Well, I can't keep it. You know,
Okay.
lock it, man.
Okay, hold on. Got up on the hose. All right, push it.
You got it?
Yep. All right, guys. Levi, come over here. Hold that. Just do not drop it. Okay?
Hold on. Sorry.
I just need to step out of the motor.
I got it.
You got it? Please do not drop it. Here, hold it up underneath here.
All right, grab hold of it.
All right. Got it? No.
Okay, let's see what it's
Hang
doing.
on. Give me that rope. The rope should be laying right behind me. You see it?
No.
To the right? Right over there? You see it?
Yeah.
Alright, give it to me. Okay. This is just a safety precaution, guys, because I don't really want to drop this thing down in the motor. Levi, come and hold it. I tried everything, and this is by far the easiest. Let me go ahead and move this light here, so that way we can see what we're doing. Bam. Can you see that, Russell?
Not the light. See the alternator, buddy.
Okay, can you see the alternator?
Oh,
All right, so don't drop it, Levi.
got it.
So I'm gonna lift up. Okay, lift up on this bad boy, and then pull this thing straight out. Well, be careful, be careful. Don't yank it, don't yank it.
No, I'm just keeping it in place so it doesn't fall.
All right, there we go, guys. That's the alternator. Pull it out. All right. That's the easiest way to do it. Takes the alternator completely out, and you're not having to take the CV axle off. Grab that light, Levi. Okay. This here alternator is a brand new alternator that I bought, but for some reason the switch was bad, and the alternator tested bad. So we're gonna go ahead and see what we got. I'm gonna take this to Advanced Auto Parts to double check it, but I do have my other alternator sitting right here. Okay, and that's my new alternator. I know I have two new alternators. Okay, voila, voila. And supposedly this one's defected, and this is the one that's brand new. The best thing to do, guys, is when you get an alternator, you have two choices. You can get a remanufactured alternator, or you can get a brand new alternator. When you get a remanufactured alternator, you're basically buying your old alternator back with new bushings, new brushes, new diodes or plugs or whatnot. So the thing is for instance, when you get a new alternator, they'll replace all the bushings and maybe even give you new housings. But if this plug isn't bad, they won't replace the plug. They'll just do the plug in there or whatnot. So, you know, the thing is best to do just spend an extra $25 and get yourself a brand new alternator, and make sure that you have it tested before you put it in, because if you put a bad alternator in, you just did all that work for nothing. You have to do it all over again. So that's it, guys. Basically the same way to take it out is the same way to put it back in. Putting it back in is actually a lot easier. So you already have everything apart, and you just put everything back together and you're good to go. So I'm on my way to AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts or O'Reilly to get this thing tested, and then we'll see what we have. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.